Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
New this noon, firefighters worked to put out the flames at a home on the far west side.
Crews tell us it started just before 9:30 this morning. Firefighters say heavy smoke and flames were seen on the backside of the home. Nobody was hurt and crews were able to get the fire under control. Firefighters say the family took the right precautions.
The homeowner did have a lot of the doors closed, so that is something that we're actually preaching now, is to close the doors behind you, especially when you're sleeping.
Some of those precautions, closing the doors, can help control the spread of the fire and smoke. Crews say the home has smoke and water damage. Right now, investigators are still working on finding the cause.
Police investigating a shooting on the north side after they say a 7-year-old was grazed by a bullet. Police tell us the young girl was lying on the sofa when it happened. Officers responded to the 1100 block of West Russell Place around 5:30 this morning. Police say someone driving by opened fire on the home. The girl was not seriously hurt and was not taken to the hospital. Right now, investigators are still looking for possible suspects.
A domestic dispute led to a shooting on the north side. Now San Antonio police have identified the man accused of pulling the trigger. 30-year-old Walter Bernard Fountain is facing charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. This is a mugshot from an arrest back in March of 2019. Officers responded to the 9500 block of Lorraine just before 9:30 last night. They found Walter Fountain kneeling next to a woman who was bleeding from a gunshot wound to the stomach. The woman was taken to University Hospital, and at last check, she was in critical condition. Walter Fountain was arrested at the scene.
And San Antonio police and Crime Stoppers need your help finding 2 people wanted for robbing a local tire shop. It happened at Performance Tires in the 4900 block of West Commerce Street back on July 2nd. According to police, a woman tried to distract an employee while a man loaded up some tires without buying them. When the manager confronted the suspects, police say the man pulled out a gun and fired several times, hitting the manager's vehicle during a chase.
San Antonio police and Crime Stoppers are also asking for your help finding 3 people all involved in an armed robbery. It happened around 8 p.m. on June 28th. Police say 3 suspects walked up to a man on the Terra Oak Trailhead, which is on the Helotes Creek Greenway. That man told police the 3 suspects beat him up and took his wallet. One of those suspects then shot him before they all ran off. If you know anything about this, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in San Antonio. Bexar County health officials reported 511 new cases and 9 new deaths in the past 24 hours.
That means there were more than 1,000 new cases and 18 deaths just over the weekend. The total number of cases here in San Antonio approaching the 20,000 mark.
We have also reached an alarming number of hospitalizations. Only 10% of staffed hospital beds are available in the county. Health officials may need to start using the Freeman Coliseum and other backup centers for people to get medical care.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to accelerate in many parts of the country. New record highs reported in dozens of states over the weekend.
And last week, the nationwide death toll rose for the first time since April. Officials warned the number of lives lost is going to climb even higher.
ABC's Trevor Alt has the latest on the coronavirus pandemic.
After days of record-shattering reports of COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, the virus is showing no signs of slowing down across many states in America.
We do expect deaths to go up. If you have more cases, more hospitalizations, we do expect to see that over the next 2 or 3 weeks before this turns around.
Florida shattered the record for the highest daily increase of any state with 15,300, easily surpassing earlier single-day case numbers set by California and New York. Still, the phased reopening continues. Disney World, the parent company of ABC News, once again welcoming guests, but with new restrictions. And over the weekend, Governor Ron DeSantis touting Florida's broad testing capabilities.
We've tested 2.4 million people. That is 1 for every 9 people in the state of Florida. So it'd be interesting to see what other things have been tested at this level, in our country in modern times.
Arizona is facing a testing crisis. Lags in available testing are concerning local officials, some taking weeks to get back their results.
This week, we did almost 2,000 people. So we know there's a demand and we're just trying to keep up.
Kristen or Keisha says she's still in shock 2 weeks after her father passed away in Arizona and says she holds the governor responsible.
It was his decisions, policy, and lack of leadership that created confusion and misinformation. I believe that, this misinformation is the reason why my father is no longer with us.
Doctors in several states worry their hospitals will soon be overwhelmed, while in Mississippi medical centers, that's already happening. Some sending patients out of state because there's simply no room. 5 of the state's biggest hospitals reporting they had no more ICU beds.
Many days in the last few weeks, we have had more patients than we have had rooms.
And in the race for a vaccine today, 2 more companies received a fast-track designation from the FDA. It will speed up their review process as they move toward clinical trials. Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
Meantime, back here at home, due to the extreme heat warnings in South Texas, the city of San Antonio extending the hours and locations for cooling centers around town. There are more than 24 sites open today, and most have been open since 7 this morning. They typically stay open until the evening. And right now on KSAT.com, you can find a full list of locations and hours for centers to open this week. Metro Health says cooling centers will observe COVID-19 precautions, including face coverings, screenings, sanitation, and social distancing guidelines.
Port San Antonio is home to several game-changing companies. One of them is Intertech. Here in San Antonio, Intertech tests emissions on everyday pieces of equipment and diesel engines. But as Max Massey shows us, thanks to a team of UTSA students, Intertech could now be at the forefront of the industry.
I love technology. Things like this excites me a lot, right?
Raj Patel is a member of the R2D2 Visionaries team, a group of UTSA students who developed a new system of testing exhaust emissions.
Teaming up with UTSA has enabled us to fulfill some of the obligations that we have in-house to try and move the needle forward.
Intertech is a globally renowned name in emissions testing. The company is a go-to authority that engine technology developers, manufacturers, and other industries rely on to make sure their engines meet certain requirements. And this is the first time Intertech actually worked with the UTSA senior engineer design team. And it seems to be working out pretty well.
It's revolutionary for us, and I do think that there are some aspects of this that are revolutionary for the industry.
This type of testing is key to companies that make everyday appliances and pieces of equipment. Engines ranging from 0.5 horsepower to 2,000 horsepower. That means emissions.
It's a significant chunk of this background contamination, because we only have so much air in a room and we only have so much air in our atmosphere.
Now this testing process is complicated and unique, but it comes down to this. You have the clean filters, they go through the testing process, and by the end, it could look something like this.
It would be like ash, unburned fuel, even pollen falls under particulate, right?
With the new system referred to as a bench, the sampling methods show tangible evidence of the final measurement much faster. As for Raj, he is headed back to UTSA for his master's, and he has big plans for what he and his team started here.
This is just the beginning, right? It's a prototype, it's a working prototype. Evolve from here, make it more accurate, right? Reusability is very important for us. So that's the goal from here.
Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
NFL news. The Washington Redskins announced the retirement of the controversial name Redskins today. The change comes less than 2 weeks after owner Dan Snyder launched an organizational review of the name. No word yet on what the name will be changed to. The name dates back to 1933 when the team was still based in Boston. And still to come up in sports, the Spurs finally get on the practice floor as a full team. We'll hear about their first workout in Orlando coming up.
And Rise Recovery Treatment is a program for people struggling with addiction. Details on its groundbreaking new campus right here in San Antonio.
New at noon, Rise Recovery, a treatment program for people struggling with substance abuse.
Today, the program celebrated the groundbreaking of its new facility. It's a first of its kind campus for teen and young adults recovering from addiction. Rise Recovery's new 2-acre, 22,000 square foot recovery center will provide no-cost recovery support services for youth, young adults, and family. The campus will provide at-risk youth a sport court, outdoor amphitheater, and community center program space to foster connection, safety, and healing.
We'll be providing one-on-one coaching, social activities, a recovery high school for kids to engage who want to stay sober but are having trouble doing that in their own school.
The new facility is expected to be completed by next summer. Morin will be a guest on tonight's KSAT Q&A. They'll be covering topics about the increases in overdoses and substance abuse since the pandemic began. Be sure to tune in to the news at 6 right here on KSAT 12 tonight. And just into our newsroom, a body found at a lake in Southern California during the search for Glee star Naya Rivera.
According to officials, the body was discovered 5 days after the 33-year-old disappeared on the lake where her son was found on a rented boat. Officials would not say if the body was Rivera, but said the day after she disappeared, they believe she drowned in the lake.
Outside with live kids. Does that say 97 already?
Sure does.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, it's not a good sign. Let me tell you that.
Wow.
We know it's going to be hot this afternoon. We are likely going to surpass some records as we get into the afternoon. The aquifer is down 0.6 of a foot to 657.1, still falling. 10-day average is down to 658.5. In your pollen count, it's just mold. Thankfully, that's all we got. It's in the low category. Big time temperatures today. We're going to talk about how high we're going to go coming up.
What were some of the words that one of our viewers came up with last week? She came up with a whole list of words to use instead of just using
heat?
hot.
Yeah.
He had some
super hot.
Pepper was one of them.
Sizzling.
I like that one.
Yeah. Well, whatever you got today, you're going to use because it's record breaking.
Yeah, triple digits.
Yeah.
All the way. And today is also, we want to pass along a CPS Energy Peak Energy Demand Day. So they're asking that you lower your energy use 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Things like put the blinds down, turn off some of the lights. That'll help keep things a little bit cooler and maybe lower the demand on the power grid. But it is one of those days because temperatures are already starting to jump up. You look across the state, and I'm about to throw a lot of numbers at you here, so just bear with me. But temperatures are the big story today. 100 San Angelo now, 97 here in San Antonio, 95 in Waco, 100 in Lubbock. And so we're already jumping into the triple digits in a lot of spots. This is the forecast high temperature for the state, or at least places in the state here. And we're going 105 in San Antonio today. The yellow number is the potential heat index. We're not going to have much of a heat index, so there's good news there, I guess. But the air temperature is going to be awful warm. Places like Del Rio could get up to 111. You're going to see a lot of big numbers out west underneath this ridge of high pressure. It could be a record-breaking not only for us, but a large portion of the state today. And for that reason, we have excessive heat warnings, this area here in pink, and then heat advisories for those areas in orange. And that's because those numbers are going to jump up so quickly. And across our areas, pretty much all of our viewing area here that is in that excessive heat warning. And that means temperatures anywhere from 105 to 108. If you're in the heat advisory, we're talking temps to 101 to 104, but we're also going to be dealing with heat index values in this area in orange. So that's where the moisture is going to be. And again, that could cause heat index numbers to jump up above the air temperature. As far as records go, we're forecasting 105 here in San Antonio. The all-time July record is 106. That was set back in 1989. In Del Rio, we're forecasting 111. The all-time July record there is 111, so that would tie. That was set back in 1960. And 112 is the all-time high temperature in Del Rio. We could get close to that. So it just sort of puts it into perspective for you. This is a pretty big heat wave for us. And the forecast locally, 106 in New Braunfels. It'll feel like 107. 103 Kerrville. The heat index will actually be a degree lower because the air is going to dry out some. Same story in Rock Springs, 103 potentially there. 97 right now, dew point is at 64. This number's dropping with southerly winds at about 10 miles per hour, but we still have an index at the heat index at this hour at 99. 92 right now, Canyon Lake, 91, Bernie Stage, 96, Rio Medina. Everybody's in the 90s. And these numbers, again, jumping up very quickly. 98 right now in Kerrville, 97 in Rock Springs, and the heat index kicking up, especially as you go east of I-35. 100 is what it feels like in New Braunfels at this hour. As we look forward in time here, there is a little bit of good news. This ridge of high pressure is going to be with us again tomorrow, so temperatures are going to be very warm. But it finally slides off to the east by Thursday. A little disturbance rolls underneath, and by Friday, I think we could get a shower or storm back in the forecast. Best chance is going to be south of us, but at least it's there. A little bit of added cloud cover, that's going to help some. 105, the high temperature today, mostly sunny skies. We'll go 104 tomorrow, 101 Wednesday, and then we're back in the 90s by the end of the week. A 20% chance of rain on Friday. That's our glimmer of hope there. Otherwise, it does still stay pretty hot.
All right, fingers crossed.
Yep.
Wow. All right, we'll take a look at the Spurs and what's in store for them later on this week. That's coming up next in sports. And the Spurs left town last week with a chance at the playoffs. They have 8 games left to make some noise. The Spurs headed for Orlando Thursday afternoon. They arrived in Orlando around 4:45 local time. After that, the team was tested for COVID-19, then self-isolated for 36 to 48 hours. They had to have 2 negative tests before they were allowed to practice Saturday evening. It all worked out. The Spurs hit the court as a team, minus LaMarcus Aldridge, for the first time after 3.5 months of being away. It was awesome.
Oh man, it's been the funnest time I've had in the last 4 months. It's been I've just been at home for 4 months, so to be able to come out and do what I love, and I think we all feel the same way. It's enjoyable right now, you know. Not under the best circumstances or any circumstances anybody would want, probably, but I think we're really enjoying ourselves.
And during an interview yesterday, DeMar DeRozan revealed that prior to Saturday's practice, the team spent an hour just sitting in a circle talking about various topics, including social injustice and racism. DeRozan also revealed that the talks like that are nothing new to Coach Pop and the Spurs.
One thing I experienced ever since I came to the Spurs was, you know, having those conscious conversations about what's going on in the real world, you know, and for that to continue, such as yesterday, it wasn't that new, but it was refreshing for us to have it, for not having it so long. You know, Pop always throughout the season at practices, he always break down some, or show us some, or have us read some, or watch some, what's going on in the world, to just keep it on our mind. So for us to have that conversation yesterday, after everything that's transpired, you know, it was uplifting, you know, because everybody emotions is all over the place, you know, trying to get through these things. Everybody got different experiences. So to be able to share that in front of all the players and coaching staff and have that dialogue to continue, you know, it's big for us to continue this thing as we here in this bubble.
And check that out. That is video from Marco Bellinelli. That's his magic band. It's a rubber bracelet with a chip that serves as his room key and a wallet if he needs it. And that'll be throughout the hotel. He can use that. The NBA also will use it to check players in for coronavirus testing. Hector Tanajara Jr., the Holmes High School alum, has his next fight now scheduled. El Finito has already fought this year and won in the Alamo back in January. Now he'll be fighting in Indio, California as the co-main event on Friday, July 24th. That will air on Danzan. El Finito, who is undefeated with a 19-0 record, will face Mercito Hesta, a veteran from the Philippines.
Josh is like my brother. I was there when he first walked into the gym. So, you know, living together and training together makes us even more comfortable. You know, we push each other in the gym all the time. And, you know, I was just real happy for him when he became a world champion. You know, that's what we all work for our whole lives. So it's just more motivation for me too, seeing him become world champion. And, you know, I was here with him in the whole camp. I seen him train hard and sparring and everything. So it's a blessing to be able to see that and to know that I'm right there at the same time, you know, a few steps away from becoming a world champion myself.
All right, we wish El Finito all the best in his next matchup. You can read more about that interview on instant replay page of KSAT.com.
I like that, El Finito.
El Finito, hey, that's the way you finish a boxing match, right?
That's
El
right.
Finito. Still ahead, the deadline to file your taxes is almost here. We'll tell you when they're due and how the IRS says you should do it this year.
And the latest from top health officials as students and teachers prepare for the upcoming school year. Parents need to know about sending their kids back to school during a pandemic.
And new today at 5, if you are planning a trip to the beach this summer, if you don't do your research first, new coronavirus guidelines may put a pause on your plans. Marilyn Moritz explains how to keep your trip on track today at 5 after Entertainment Tonight. We'll be right back.
When voters go to the polls tomorrow in the Democratic primary, they will be deciding on who will represent the party in the race for U.S. Senate. Air Force veteran MJ Hagar is challenging State Senator Royce West for the chance to face Senator John Cornyn in November. Both say there are several challenges facing our country today.
The person in the White House is the biggest challenge. He's divided this country like I've never seen it before in my life. We have COVID issues, and implicit in those COVID issues are issues of unemployment now, and also that of healthcare. We have a country that, frankly, we thought, and many of us thought, that we were getting the racial strife behind us.
We had a public health crisis in Texas before COVID-19, where we had nearly 1 out of every 5 Texans without access to healthcare. So, I mean, you know, crises kind of come and go, but we still need access to quality, affordable healthcare, no matter what's going on. We still need an economy that's working for everybody and not just the powerful special interests.
And you can find out more about where these two candidates stand on other issues like the border wall and removing Confederate statues by going to our website at KSAT.com.
And remember, tomorrow is the runoff election day. If you have not already voted, tomorrow is the last day to do so. We've got some more information on who's on the ballots right now. Just go to our website, KSAT.com.
The Texas Supreme Court upheld Houston's refusal to allow the state Republican Convention to hold in-person events due to the coronavirus pandemic. The court dismissed an appeal of a state district judge's denial of a temporary restraining order sought by the state Republican Party. The state GOP commission had been scheduled to begin Thursday and was expected to draw thousands of participants. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner canceled the convention last week.
And the Republican National Committee and President Donald Trump's campaign say they have now hired 1,500 field staffers. That's after they added another 300 staffers today. They are set to hit 20 states by Wednesday in the largest field operation ever by a Republican campaign. The goal is to turn out votes on behalf of Republicans up and down the ticket this fall. The Trump team says it's on pace to eclipse the 2.2 million volunteer total that helped re-elect President Barack Obama back in 2012.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham is agreeing with Democrats to let Robert Mueller testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Graham, who is the committee chair, tweeted about Mueller's recent op-ed in the Washington Post and said he will grant Democrats' request for Mueller to testify. The former special counsel defended his office's prosecution of Roger Stone, whose sentence was commuted by President Donald Trump the day before. Mueller was appointed in May of 2017 to investigate Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election.
As cases of COVID-19 continue to rise across the United States, many parents are wondering if a return to class this fall is even possible.
President Donald Trump's administration says it's time to return, but health experts and leaders in some of the hardest hit states do not agree.
ABC's Andrew Dimbert shares the latest.
In the backdrop of all the devastation caused by the pandemic, from rising hospitalizations, surges in cases and deaths, and healthcare systems reaching the breaking point, is a call for schools to reopen in the fall.
I want to just say get open in the fall. We want your schools open.
Education Secretary Betsy DeVos downplaying the risks of the virus, telling CNN Sunday kids going back to school should be the rule, not the exception.
There is nothing in the data that would suggest that kids being back in school is dangerous to them.
Data from the COVID Tracking Project would suggest otherwise. The U.S. set new records last week for new infections in the country, and Florida just shattered the record for the highest daily increase of any state since the pandemic began, with 15,300 new cases, easily surpassing earlier single-day case numbers set by California and New York. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez sidestepping the question if kids will be back in the classroom when fall rolls around.
I have no idea whether they're going to be back in school, yes or no. I mean, our superintendent is the one that runs our school systems, and he has indicated that he's not going to put our children at risk.
In Texas, another hotspot, Houston school district leaders will announce their in-class education plans this week. The mayor says he wants children to return, but only if cases and hospitalizations drop.
You don't send kids back to school when there's a raging fire and the fire is still burning in August. Put the doggone fire out in July.
Again, the education secretary not providing much in the way of pandemic protocol or how to keep kids and teachers safe.
To say not what we can't do, but what we're going to do and what we can do. We're a country of action. We're a country of doers.
The mixed messaging also reaching the depths of the Oval Office. A leaked White House memo, first reported by the Washington Post, shows a series of comments made by the Trump administration towards Dr. Anthony Fauci in an effort to damage his reputation. Sources say Dr. Fauci is often referred to within the administration as Dr. Gloom and Doom. Andrew Dimber, ABC News, Washington.
And taking a look outside with live cam. Hey, enjoy that 97 degrees because it's going to get hotter.
We've
Right?
been that way for like 30, 45 minutes now. So,
Right?
You know, hold on.
Feels weird to say that. You know, we're going to be in the 90s hopefully later this week, and that's going to be a significant cool down for us. This is where we are. Heat advisories in place, and in fact, excessive heat warnings in effect for San Antonio and in much of the area. Temperatures could be anywhere from 105 to 108 today, even hotter as you get out towards Del Rio and Eagle Pass. So be extra careful out there today. It is also a CPS Energy Peak Energy Demand Day. They're asking that you lower your energy use 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Some of the things you can do: minimize appliance use, turn off lights in the empty rooms, close blinds and shades, because we got to bring down the demand on the energy grid today. It's going to be working overtime with temperatures like this. We are now up to 100 in Bandera, according to the thermometer there. 98 Boulevardy, 99 New Braunfels, 94 Stinson, 99 in Devine. So we're already closing in on 100, and it's just barely noontime here. So we're thinking 105 here in San Antonio today. That would be 1 degree shy of the all-time July high temperature record. Only dropping to 102 by 7 o'clock, 92 by 10 o'clock. Southerly winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. It's going to be almost as hot tomorrow, and then we'll finally start to see this heat subside a little bit. We'll take a look at that 7-day forecast here in just a few minutes. Guys.
All right, Justin, thank you. Over the weekend, the Texas Kidney Foundation congratulated the 2020 Maria Villanueva Scholarship winners.
The scholarship, which goes to college students affected by kidney disease, was started by our instant replay producer, Daniel Villanueva, in memory of his mother. Now, Daniel and his family usually host a fundraiser where they announce the scholarship winners, but could not do that this year because of COVID-19. But the folks at Sapores Pizza, who donate the fundraiser every year, provided lunch to this year's winners.
It means a lot to me because I know my parents always wanted me to finish school and to be successful, you know, and I had always just wanted to, you know, give back to them and then, you know, to whoever I could. So with getting this scholarship, it's going to help a lot this next coming semester because I haven't been working because I've been taking care of my parents, so it's going to help. I really want to finish out my last year strong because I want to apply to medical school because seeing the doctors that helped my mom inspired me and fueled my drive so much to help other people in the future.
Congratulations to all those winners. The Villanueva family hope to resume their annual fundraiser next summer, but if they cannot, they will still be able to award scholarships in 2021. This year's 4 winners each received $1,500. Congratulations again to them and to Daniel and that whole organization and all the volunteers and all the folks that donated. It's a tough time to be collecting money because of this COVID thing for nonprofits. So congratulations to them for getting that done.
Yes, they still made it happen. Congratulations. And Walmart is adding its own membership program. What's included in the deal and how much it's going to cost you? That's still ahead in your consumer news.
Plus, a group of athletes staying committed to the game. Later in sports, we'll introduce you to football players who are going above and beyond despite the setbacks of that pandemic.
And Hallmark helping adults get into the holiday spirit this month. We're going to tell you about the Christmas in July wine that's up for grabs.
Hello everyone, this is your daily tech and business briefing from Cheddar. Elon Musk is now richer than Warren Buffett. According to a Bloomberg Billionaire Index, the Tesla CEO has now become the 7th wealthiest person in the world, surpassing Buffett. Now, Musk's fortune reportedly rose by more than $6 billion on Friday. This after Tesla stock surged over 10% to a record $1,500 a share. Meanwhile, Buffett's fortune fell this week after he donated nearly $3 billion worth of Berkshire Hathaway stock to charity. Meanwhile, Tesla is now lowering the price of their Model Y by $3,000. The vehicle, which was previously priced at roughly $53K, will now go out for just under $50,000. This comes after Tesla slashed prices on their Model 3, Model X, and Model S back in May. The cuts are likely a result of the economic downturn caused by the coronavirus. Tesla so far has declined to comment. And Facebook reportedly is considering a ban on political ads just ahead of the U.S. presidential election. According to Bloomberg, the idea is currently being discussed internally, but no final decision so far has been reached. The move could potentially defend against misleading election content as people gear up to vote. However, many are raising concerns that a ban on all ads might hurt those campaigns who are encouraging people to go out and vote. And that's your Chatter Business and Tech Update. I'm Baker Machado, coming to you from New York City.
In your consumer news, if you haven't filed your federal taxes yet, you need to do that by Wednesday. The IRS says it's best if you do that online because there is a backlog of paper returns because employees have been working from home. If you need more time, you can submit an extension that will give you until October 15, but that extension paperwork is due Wednesday as well.
The record for the most money paid for a video game has been broken. Heritage Auctions says it sold a copy of Super Mario Brothers for $114,000. The game was still sealed in its packaging, and it had a hang tab underneath the plastic, and that indicates it was one of the first variants of the 1985 game released. The sale was part of Auction House's Comics and Comic Art Sale.
The Hallmark Channel is pre-selling 2 Christmas-themed wines. So it says Jingles 2018 Cabernet Sauvignon offers holiday spice, and Joy's 2019 Sauvignon Blanc has a joyous finish. The Hallmark Channel is known for its holiday movies. It's currently in the middle of its Christmas in July event, which I know you guys know about that.
So there's wine to go with those movies now.
Of course.
Walmart planning its own membership program called Walmart Plus. The service is similar to Amazon Prime and is set to be unveiled this month. The yearly subscription, $98. It includes same-day delivery, fuel discounts, and other perks. Walmart has already been experimenting with one-day delivery in some areas. And in your Spotlight news, actress Kelly Preston has passed away, according to her husband, John Travolta. Travolta posted on Instagram that Preston, his wife of 28 years, died after a 2-year battle with breast cancer. Preston had a lengthy career in movies and television. She had starring roles in For the Love of the Game, What a Girl Wants, and Jerry Maguire, to name just a few. Travolta and Preston had 3 children together. She was 57 years old.
Mariah Carey is releasing a memoir called The Meaning of Mariah Carey. Carey says she wanted to tell the story of the moments, the ups, the downs, the triumphs, and the traumas. The book will focus on her childhood, adolescence, and all the way through her superstar career. It is expected to be released this September.
And outside, 97 degrees. Got to get serious for a second. If you know some people who live next door or down the street, I mean, you got to do your social distancing and do it the right way, but you may want to check on some of the elderly folks around just to make sure that they can handle this, because this is going to be a brutal day.
Yeah, good advice. Check on your neighbors on a day like today with temperatures the way they are. 97 already so far today. The record is 102 set back in 2013, so we're already within 5 degrees of the record with a lot of heating left to go. We started off at 79 this morning, and the averages are 94, 75. There we go. We're going to be well above average today. We'll talk about the excessive heat warnings we have in effect and how long this heat's going to last coming up.
So it's so dang hot and dry. The heat index and the heat number are the same or something. I was like totally confused. I just know it's hot.
It's off the chart.
It's off the chart. Is that right?
So
something like that?
The
Explain
air
that.
is so dry now that we basically don't have a heat index, or it can actually feel cooler than the actual air temperature, and that's because when the air is so dry, you get evaporation and it doesn't feel as steamy outside. Long story short, it's hot. That's just the way to look at it, because we're going to see the temperatures really skyrocket today. Let's talk about extremes across the country. Yesterday, it got up to 128 in Death Valley. So it goes to show you, it could be worse, I suppose. That's really close to the all-time record they have there, but pretty incredible. And then this morning, got down to 30 in Wyoming. That sounds kind of nice. A little bit of jacket weather there. 98-degree temperature difference from the high to low across the country today. Death Valley will probably be the winner again this afternoon, although some places in Texas are going to try to get up to some pretty extreme levels this afternoon. Here's a look across our great city. Temperatures right now 97 degrees at the airport. Dew point is at 64, and there's just enough moisture there where we are starting to get a little bit of a heat index. But again, I think you're going to see the air temperature and heat index be almost the same this afternoon because the dew point will continue to drop. 98 degrees in Bulverde, 95 right now at Randolph, 95 Bernie Stage, 98 Kerrville, 95 at Los Maples, and temperatures 98 Gonzales, 96 right now Kennedy, 97 in Cotulla. Pretty uniform here, uniformly hot. And then you factor in the humidity, and we have a few spots now over 100, but most of the humidity is going to be east of I-35 today. So Cotulla looking at a heat index of 104, 101 is what it feels like there in Gonzales, and 100 in New Braunfels. There are excessive heat warnings in effect. We're going to see that temperature be anywhere from 105 to 108 this afternoon in this area in pink. And then the orange area is a heat advisory where temperatures will be 101 to 104. Here's a look at some of the forecast highs. We're thinking 111 in Del Rio, which is a pretty big number there. That would break records. 103 Fredericksburg, 107 in Hondo, 106 in Pleasanton. This yellow number, by the way, the heat index, you'll notice here in San Antonio, just be the same as the air temperature because, again, it will be somewhat drier. As we look at the visible satellite picture and radar here, there is some activity up across parts of Oklahoma. That's where it will stay. But we've got cloud-free skies, and that's why temperatures are really starting to jump up. And the entire state is going to be baking today. Big-time numbers out west, too. Likely some records being set elsewhere across the state of Texas as this big ridge of high pressure settles right on top of us. That'll be the case today and tomorrow before it starts to slide east. And that's what the computer models are showing. So this moves east, and that's when temperatures finally start to calm down just a little bit. I think that'll be Wednesday into Thursday. And then we get a little disturbance that tries to work underneath the ridge. Now, depending on its track, we could get a few showers and storms out of it. It would be mainly just a couple coastal showers that may try to make their way up towards San Antonio. But right now, it's just a 20% chance of rain. This would be Friday afternoon. This is our one hope here because this thing will pass us by as we get into the weekend. But we'll put in a slight chance of rain there. Best chance will be south and southeast of San Antonio. 104 by 4 o'clock today. I think 105 will be your high temperature. Still at 99 at 8 o'clock. That evening run is going to be a little difficult today. 104 Tuesday, 101 Wednesday, and then back into the 90s. Good to see that, huh?
Yeah.
20% chance of rain on Friday. Who would have thought we'd be so excited about 99 or 98 degrees? But that is where we are.
Never thought I would be looking forward to that, but I sure am. Thank you, Justin.
Yep.
Coming up after the break, more on a group of athletes that aren't letting the pandemic get in the way of their summer training.